So, let me ask you something. When I say the word Kotlin, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most people, it's Android, right? And hey, that's totally fair. But that's kind of like saying a Swiss Army knife is just, a knife. There's so much more packed inside. Today, we're going to unfold all those other tools. We're going to see how Kotlin is tackling one of programming's most infamous billion-dollar mistakes. We'll look at how it's powering absolutely massive apps at places like Meta. And we're going to chase down this ultimate dream, one single code base to rule them all. You ready? Let's dive in.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start by going back to the beginning, to see the one big problem Kotlin was actually created to solve. Then we'll fast forward to today and see how it's being used at an absolutely massive scale. From there, we'll look to the future and talk about this multi-platform dream. We'll even pop the hood and check out the performance that makes it all possible. And finally, we'll wrap up by looking at the entire ecosystem that's pulling all of this together.
All right, let's kick things off with the origin story. Because really, to get Kotlin, you first have to understand a problem that has literally cost the software industry billions. That's billions with a B of dollars. And, oh man, just countless hours of pure frustration. And this is the guy who started it all, Sir Tony Hoare. He's the inventor of the null reference, and he's famously called it his billion-dollar mistake. And he's talking, of course, about the infamous null pointer exception. If you've ever coded, you know this pain. It's like your code tries to use something that just isn't there, and bam, the whole thing just crashes. Well, Kotlin was designed from the ground up to make sure that never, ever happens again. So Kotlin's whole philosophy is super simple. Just be pragmatic. It wants to be a useful tool that gets the job done, not some abstract theoretical exercise. And its secret weapon against that billion-dollar mistake? It's all in its type system. Just imagine every variable you create is like a box. Kotlin makes you label each box. Either, this box definitely has something in it, or heads up, this box might be empty. And by forcing you to check those might be empty boxes before you open them, Kotlin just eliminates those awful crashes at the source, before your code even runs.
And look at this. This is that pragmatism in action, right here on the screen. On the left, you've got all that boilerplate Java code. And on the right, the exact same thing in Kotlin. A single, beautiful, clean line. And this isn't just about typing less, It's way bigger than that. Less code means fewer places for bugs to hide. It means a huge boost in how fast developers can build things and, just as importantly, understand what's going on.
So what you end up with is this incredible package, right? You get that built-in safety, a ton of modern programming features, and this amazing flexibility. I mean, it can run on the JVM just like Java. It can be compiled into JavaScript to run in a web browser, or it can be turned into native code that runs straight on the hardware. It's like a chameleon. And that ability to adapt is really what makes Kotlin so darn powerful. Okay, so that all sounds great in theory. But the real question is, does this pragmatic approach actually hold up in the real world, at the scale of the biggest companies on the planet? Well, let's take a look at Meta. They decided to go all in and migrate their Android apps to Kotlin, and it was a massive undertaking.
And when I say massive, I mean it. We're talking about converting more than 10 million lines of code. So you gotta ask, why go through all that trouble? It's because Meta realized that to really get all those benefits, the developer productivity, the code safety, they couldn't just dip their toes in. They had to commit. This wasn't about adding a few new features here and there. This was about fundamentally transforming their entire Android code base.
Now, obviously, you can't just hit pause on an app like Facebook to rewrite everything. That's just not an option. So they built this incredibly sophisticated tool they nicknamed the Kotlinator. And it's basically a smart assembly line for code. It takes in the old Java, preps it, runs it through a converter, and then, this is the magic part, it applies over 150 different automated fixes and tweaks to polish the result. It even learns from the errors it finds, getting smarter as it goes.
And this right here shows you just how tricky that automation can get. It's one of those subtle little gotchas. In Java, checking if a Boolean value is not true can mean something different than checking if it's explicitly false, especially if that value might not even exist, if it's null. So a simple, dumb conversion actually gets the logic wrong, which could lead to some really weird bugs. The Kotlinator had to be smart enough to catch hundreds of these tiny but absolutely critical edge cases.
Okay, so we've established that Kotlin can fix old, nagging problems, and it can operate at a massive scale. But that solid foundation is really just the launchpad for a much, much bigger goal, an almost impossibly ambitious one, to finally end the war between platforms.
I mean, think about it. This is the holy grail for basically any company making software today. Right now, if you want your app to work on an iPhone, an Android phone, and the web, what do? You usually have to build it 3 separate times. That's 3 different teams writing 3 different code bases. It's a nightmare of cost and complexity.
Well, Kotlin Multiplatform, or KMP, offers a totally different way. And this is key. It's not about creating one single generic user interface that looks kind of meh everywhere. No, the idea is to share the brain of the app. You know, all the business logic, the stuff that fetches data, calculates things, saves your preferences. You write that part just once in Kotlin. And then you build the beautiful pixel-perfect UI on top that feels perfectly native to iOS, Android, or wherever else it's run.
And listen, this isn't just some pipe dream. The investment behind this is real, and the momentum is really building. Just look at the official roadmap for 2025. We're talking about huge milestones, like making it way easier to build iOS UIs with Compose Multiplatform, creating a direct bridge to Swift, which is Apple's own language, and even launching a brand new dedicated IDE to make the whole process seamless. It's clear they're absolutely all in on this vision.
But hold on. All these grand visions of one code base to rule them all, they mean absolutely nothing if the language itself is slow, right? For any of this to actually work in the real world, it's got to be fast and it's got to be efficient. So let's do it. Let's pop the hood and take a look at the engine.
So, what's the #1 challenge for pretty much any modern app? It's doing a bunch of things at once without freezing up or getting sluggish. Think about a chef in a busy kitchen. They don't just cook one dish from start to finish and then move to the next one, right? No, they're juggling dozens of tasks at the same time. Well, Kotlin's way of handling this is with something called coroutines. You can think of them as super efficient little assistants for the chef. But for that whole kitchen to run smoothly, all those assistants need a really efficient way to talk to each other.
And that communication system is built on this really cool concept called a rendezvous channel. The best way to think about it is like a relay race. The first runner can't just drop the baton on the track and run off. They have to wait right there until the next runner arrives to physically hand it off. That meeting point is the rendezvous. The channel works the exact same way. One piece of code with some data has to meet up with another piece of code that needs it before they can make the exchange. It's a simple, elegant idea, and it's the absolute foundation of Kotlin's high-performance concurrency model. And the engineers behind Kotlin are just obsessed with making this faster and faster. Just look at this chart. It shows the performance of a brand new, super-optimized algorithm for that exact channel. And we are not talking about a small 10 or 20% improvement here. We are talking about a nearly 10-fold increase in throughput, a 10x speed up. That is a gigantic leap in performance.
And here's the best part. This isn't just some academic paper or a cool experiment. This new, much faster algorithm is already baked into the standard Kotlin coroutines library. That means every single developer using Kotlin today is getting the benefit of this deep, low-level performance work right out of the box.
All right, so to wrap things up, let's talk about the ecosystem. Because look, a great programming language on its own isn't enough. Not by a long shot. It needs amazing tools, tons of libraries, and a strong community. So let's look at the ecosystem that's turning Kotlin from just a cool piece of technology into a really smart, strategic choice for the future.
The thing to remember is that Kotlin isn't some isolated island. It plays incredibly well with the existing world of software development. We're talking about the biggest server-side frameworks, like Spring, treating it as a top-tier language. It's got its own suite of powerful official libraries, and it's supported by the absolute best IDEs and tools out there. You don't have to throw everything away and start over. You can just plug Kotlin right into this rich, mature ecosystem. And you know where that ecosystem is really exploding? In the multi-platform space. We're now at about 2,500 multi-platform libraries available, and that number is growing fast. So what does that mean for you? It means if you need to do something common, like networking or talking to a database, there's a really good chance someone has already built a library that lets you do it once and have it work on every single platform. So when you put it all together, from fixing one of programming's oldest bugs to powering some of the biggest apps in the world, from its incredible under-the-hood performance to its bold, ambitious vision for the future, it's pretty clear that Kotlin is so much more than just the Android language. It is a major contender for the future of how we build software. And it leaves us with this one huge question. Is that dream of writing our code just once and having it run everywhere, is it finally, truly within our reach?